The aftermath of war. The sky was dark with smoke. Broken ships floated above a dying planet. The war was over, but the pain had just begun. On the surface of the planet, everything was silent. Buildings had turned to ash. Metal burned, glass melted, bodies buried under the ruins. It was the end of a once beautiful alien world. Among the rubble walked a mother. Her name was Soraya. She was tired, her face cut and bruised, her breathing heavy. She moved slowly, limping through the burned city streets. Soraya's eyes were red from crying. Her arms were empty. She whispered the same name again and again. Virel, my child. Where are you? Virel was her only child. He was just 3 solar cycles old. During the last attack, she had left him with caretakers in the underground shelter. Then the bombs came. Fire, noise. Everything turned white. She had blacked out. When she woke, they told her the shelter was destroyed. No survivors. But a mother's heart never gives up. They didn't look hard enough, she told herself. Now she searched the ruins, her boots crunching over glass and bone. Smoke made her cough, but she kept walking. She checked every shelter door, every corner, every broken hallway. Then she saw it, something small, half buried under dust. She rushed to it and pulled it free. It was Virel's favorite toy, a soft animal from their home moon. One ear torn, eyes faded from years of hugs. Soraya held it close, pressing it to her chest. She dropped to her knees. Her voice broke. You were here. You were really here. She looked around. Everything was gone. No sound. Just the wind and fire. They lied, she whispered. They let you die. Tears ran down her cheeks as the camera pulls away, showing the ruined city around her. Narrator voice, soft, serious. She wept for her lost child after the Star War, not knowing far away. A human had broken orders to save him. Scene cut. Deep in space, far, from the dead world, a small human ship drifted through blackness. Inside, the hum of machines and soft beeping sounds filled the air. Captain Raynor sat in a chair watching stars through the glass. He looked tired, unshaven, eyes full of memories. In his arms was a blanket. It moved. From inside, a tiny alien hand reached out. The child, Virel, was alive. He slept peacefully, wrapped in human cloth, his head resting against Raynor's chest. Raynor spoke in a low voice, barely a whisper. You were just a baby. Your people were the enemy. They told us not to help anyone. But when I heard you cry, I couldn't leave you. He remembered the battle. Fire. Screams. Orders in his ear. Pull out. Leave the civilians. Do not engage. But he had heard a child's cry. It echoed in his helmet. It didn't sound like war. It sounded like life. He had followed the sound and found the baby in a broken pod. Everyone else was gone. The pod was half crushed, sparks flying, air leaking out. He had picked the child up and turned off his comms. He had lied to command. He told them there was no one left. But he had saved the child. Now, he was hiding. From his own people. From the aliens, from everyone. The baby moved in his arms, made a soft sound. Raynor smiled a little. I don't know who you are, or who your mother is, he said. But I promise you, you'll live. Narrator voice. While a mother searched, ashes for her son, the man she should have feared held the child close, choosing to protect life. Instead of follow orders. Scene cut back. Soraya sits in the ruins. She doesn't move. The toy is still in her hand. Behind her, the wind blows ashes into the air. The world is dead. She is alone. But her eyes look up. Somewhere, deep inside, hope is not fully gone. She whispers to the sky, if there's anyone out there, please, bring him back to me. Fade to black. The human who disobeyed orders. The ship floated in the silence of deep space. Stars blinked in the distance. Nearby, The burned remains of warships drifted like tombstones. Captain Rayner sat in the control seat of his stolen transport. He wasn't a thief before, not a traitor, not a criminal. But now, he was all those things. And it started with one cry that changed everything. 6 weeks earlier, the battle over Orion 7 was brutal. Human fleets had pushed through the enemy defenses after months of war. The alien alliance had fallen back. Victory was near, but the cost was high. Rayner's boots hit the ground hard as he ran through the burning ruins of the alien city. His squad followed close. Smoke covered the air. Fire burst from cracks in the ground. The mission was clear. Search and clear. No civilian recoveries. Destroy all enemy tech. His comm buzzed. Team Alpha, move to Grid 6. Wipe all resistance. No need for search and rescue. Civilians are considered hostile. He didn't answer. Right away. Something in him hesitated. Then he heard it. A sound that didn't belong in war. A cry. High-pitched. Weak. Like a whisper under the roar of fire. He turned. Did you hear that? He asked his team. Hear what? Just more fire, Cap. Come on. Evac in 10. But Rayner moved toward the sound, leaving the path. He ran through a half-collapsed hallway. A door was stuck. He kicked it open. Inside was a shattered bunker room. The ceiling had fallen. Walls cracked. The air was thin. And there, half buried under a beam, was a small pod. A cry came again. His heart pounded. He dropped to his knees and pulled the debris off the pod. Inside was a baby. An alien baby. Tiny. Scared. Glowing blue skin. Strange eyes, filled with tears. He stared for a moment. This was the enemy. A species humans were told to fear, to hate. But this child, this was no threat. Just a baby. His comm buzzed again. Alpha, report. What's your status? He turned it off. And in that moment, he made a choice that would change his life forever. He picked up the child and held it close. Now. In the present, Rayner stared at the child sleeping in a small bed made from emergency blankets and gear. He had named him Kai for now. Short, simple, human-sounding. Just in case. Kai was growing fast. Alien biology, maybe. Or something else. But the child smiled now. He laughed. He held Rayner's fingers. Rayner had seen men die for medals. Kill for orders. But this tiny alien baby, was more human than all of them. But Rayner knew he couldn't hide forever. He had used old smuggler paths, hacked codes, bribed border guards. But someone would find out. And then what? He'd be a traitor. They'd take the child. The truth would be buried, or worse. They'd destroy Kai for being an enemy bioform. Rayner stood and looked at the stars. Maybe I should have let them kill me back there, he whispered. But I didn't. And now, I finish what I started. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, back on the ruined alien world, Soraya stood in front of a transmission terminal. The machine was damaged, barely working, barely. She had spent weeks gathering power cells and fixing wires. Everyone said she was mad. He's gone, they told her. No one survived. The humans took everything. But she didn't listen. Tonight, she would send a message across the stars. A message she had recorded every day since the war ended. This is Soraya of Ulek. If anyone finds this message, if you have seen a child, small, blue-skinned, with green eyes, his name is Virel. He is my son. He was lost during the Star War. Please, if you have him, don't hurt him. Bring him back. I will give anything. Just bring him back to me. She stared at the screen. Virel, if you're alive, I'm coming for you. I promise. She sent the message. It echoed into the blackness, into unknown space. A tiny signal in a sea of silence. Back on the transport ship, Rayner's console beeped. A signal had arrived. Strange language. Half scrambled. He activated the translator. And he heard it, a mother's voice, her name, her plea, her child's name. Virel. Raynor froze. His hand reached for Kai, still sleeping, and he looked at the screen. "You're Virel," he whispered. "You have a name, and a mother." He sat down hard. Everything was spinning. He had thought he saved a random child, but now that child had a mother out there, a voice filled with love and pain. For a moment, he saw her face in his mind, imagined her searching, crying, just like he had seen so many parents do during the war. He had taken the child to protect him, but now he knew. This wasn't his journey to finish. He had to return him, somehow. But the moment he turned around, they'd find him. He'd be arrested, executed, or worse. He looked out at the stars. What do I do now? Kai stirred and opened his small, glowing eyes, and smiled. Raynor sighed. Yeah, I know. We're not running anymore. A secret hidden among star space was silent, but secrets screamed louder than any war. Captain Raynor moved through the narrow corridors of his ship, holding the baby. No, not just a baby now. Virel, the child with a name, a family, and a home, far beyond the stars. For 6 weeks, Virel had been just Kai, a symbol of defiance. Now he was something more. A connection to the war's victims. A living reason why humanity's victory was not pure. But that secret could get them both killed. A message had changed everything. It wasn't meant for Raynor. It was a desperate plea from a mother who never gave up. Soraya's voice, broken and trembling, sent across dying satellites and cracked comm stations. He is my son. Please, please, bring him back. Raynor had played the message again and again. Now he couldn't sleep. He couldn't eat. He stared at the child as he slept, wondering how to return him to his mother without bringing the full force of the military down on them. He had stolen from his own people, disobeyed wartime protocols. If anyone found out Virel was on board, he wouldn't just be court-martialed, he'd disappear. And the child? They'd never let an enemy species live to tell a tale like this. The truth was too dangerous, so he ran. Not out of fear, but out of protection. Every space station he visited, he changed his name, wore old mining uniforms, powered the ship with salvaged fuel cells. Even Virel's crib was hidden behind a false wall in the cargo hold. But secrets don't stay hidden forever, and someone was already watching. On the orbital colony of Black Hollow, a smuggler named Jex had noticed something strange 2 days. An unregistered ship had docked quietly in Bay 43. No signal logs, no transport codes, but heavy life support usage. Someone was hiding something, and Jex loved secrets, especially the kind that paid well. He tapped into old surveillance bots and watched the footage. What he saw made his eyes narrow. A human. Tall. Military posture, clean movements, but he wasn't alone. In his arms, a small alien child. Jex's smile grew cold. What the hell are you doing, soldier? He sent a single message to a contact in the Galactic Intelligence Division. I've got something you're gonna want. Big payday. Ex-soldier. Traveling with a child from the enemy side, coordinates attached. The reply was short. Hold him. We're coming. Meanwhile, Raynor stood at the edge of a dark corridor in the station. He carried Virel in a sling, across his chest. The child was quiet, curious, staring at the new lights and sounds. They had come here for supplies. Just 10 minutes, in and out, keep heads down, but something felt wrong. A pair of station guards were walking slowly down the opposite side of the corridor. One whispered something into his comm. Raynor's instincts kicked in. He turned and walked faster. The lights flickered. One of the guards followed. Raynor's heart pounded. Not now. Not here. He ducked into an old repair shop and pretended to browse broken tools. Virel let out a small noise. Too loud. A guard passed by, paused at the door, looked in. You there? He said. What's your name? Raynor didn't answer. The guard stepped in. We had reports of an off-grid transport. Where's your ID? Before the guard could finish his sentence, Rayner moved. One quick strike. Elbow to the neck. The guard dropped. Rayner grabbed Viral and ran. An alarm started to blare. Contain Bay 43. Suspect armed and fleeing with alien bioform. Rayner ran through the smoke-filled hangar. Blasts echoed behind him. He reached his ship, slammed the door shut. Launched before they could lock the bay. Stars blurred past the window as the ship jumped into hyperspace. His hands trembled. Viral was crying now. Rayner held him close. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry, but we can't stop. Not yet." Somewhere deep in alien space, Soraya sat at a small trading post watching her message upload again. She had sent it to hundreds of stations, black markets, even human listening satellites. Everyone told her to stop. The war is over. Your son is gone. But tonight, an old trader had handed her a strange data chip. "I saw this on a screen at Black Hollow Station," he said. "A human, carrying a blue child." Soraya's hand shook as she inserted the chip. The footage was low quality, blurry, but clear enough. The child, those green eyes, that toy, Viral. She gasped. Her body froze. "He's alive." She stood, up, her voice trembling with new fire. "I'm coming, my son." The search begins. Stars passed like rivers of light outside her ship. Soraya had never flown this far from home, never crossed into human-patrolled space, never broken this many laws. But then again, she was never just a mother before. Now she was something more. A mother on a mission. A storm inside calm silence. In her hand, she held a still image, a blurry snapshot from a docking camera. A man, tall, in human armor, and in his arms, a small child with glowing blue skin. Her child, Viral. There was no doubt now. Soraya's ship was old, half-rusted and built for farming, not speed. But it didn't matter. It flew on grief and fury. Every station she visited, every contact she bribed, every smuggler she questioned, led her closer. They spoke in whispers. The ghost captain. Human with an alien child. Traitor to his own kind. She didn't know his name yet, but she would find him. And when she did, she wasn't sure if she would fall at his feet in thanks nor hold a weapon to his head, far away in a forgotten part of space. Captain Rayner hid inside an old mining colony buried in an asteroid field. He had changed the ship's ID again, changed his own face using black market tech. But the bounty was growing. Now he was being hunted, not just by the military, but by mercenaries, pirates, and something worse, agents from the Galactic Intelligence Division. They weren't after money. They were after silence. One file leak, one photo, one truth. A human saved an enemy child. They would erase that truth at any cost. Rayner sat by Viral's crib, tightening his grip on a plasma pistol. He hadn't slept in 2 days. Every noise in the vents felt like footsteps, every signal like a warning. Viral was growing fast, learning sounds, smiling. Sometimes he'd say a word in his native tongue, words Rayner didn't understand. But the child trusted him, and Rayner felt something he hadn't felt since before the war. Peace. Until the peace shattered. The door exploded inward. 3 armored soldiers entered, faces hidden behind black visors. "Step away from the child," one said. Rayner didn't move. "He's not a prisoner," Rayner said. "He's not your lab rat." "He's a threat to peace," the soldier replied coldly. "He's a child." A pause. "This is your final warning." Rayner raised the pistol. One shot, straight through the first soldier's visor. Chaos broke loose. He grabbed Viral, ducked behind cover, firing back as sparks rained down. He didn't fight to kill. He fought to run, always running. He reached the ship, launched fast, took hits, shield nearly gone, but they jumped into hyperspace, just in time. Viral clung to his shirt, shaking. Rayner held him tight. "I'm sorry," he whispered again, but now he knew. Hiding wasn't enough anymore. He needed to find her. The mother. The voice behind the message. He had to return the child before someone took that chance away forever. At the same time, Soraya landed at a neutral spaceport called Nova's Gate, a dusty, lawless place filled with traders, bounty, hunters, spies. She wore a hood and carried a scanner tuned to the child's biofrequency. It was weak, but it was here. He had been here. Days ago, inside a broken-down bar, she met a trader who'd seen something. "You looking for the ghost? Human soldier? He had a kid with him. Blue. Like you. I ain't blind." "Where did they go?" The trader smirked. "Not far, but he's not running anymore. He's looking for something. Maybe someone." Soraya's heart skipped. She pulled out a photo. The same blurry image. This child. That man. Tell me how to find them. Back in space, Raynor sat at the control panel wiping blood off his arm. He stared at the last replay of the mother's message. "His name is Varel. If you find him, please bring him back to me." He took a deep breath. "This is Captain Raynor," he said into the recorder. "I have your son. He's safe. I'm trying to bring him to you. But people are hunting us. If you get this message, follow the path I took. Nova's Gate. Level 3. He pressed send and hoped it reached the stars before death reached him. Enemies and choices, the message reached her at midnight. A voice. A human voice. "This is Captain Raynor. I have your son. He's safe. I'm trying to bring him to you." The words echoed in Soraya's ears, over and over, for the first time. Since the war ended, she collapsed. Not from grief, but from relief. He's alive. Virel is alive. And he's with a human. But the message didn't just bring hope. It brought danger. Raynor said they were being hunted, and now she was part of that hunt, whether she wanted to be or not. She replayed the message again, this time noting the coordinates. Nova's Gate, Level 3. She packed everything she had, climbed into her ship, and launched through the dark. Her child was out there, and so was the enemy. On a nearby moon, in a black facility that didn't officially exist, a group of elite agents watched. Raynor's message, too. They didn't speak. They didn't blink. They just watched. One of them finally said, "He's reaching out, trying to give it back." Another answered, "We can't allow that." "Why?" a younger agent asked. "It's just a child." The room fell silent. "Because if he gives it back, they'll believe humans can care. They'll believe we're not monsters, and we can't have that." The room nodded. A target was set. Kill Raynor. Retrieve or terminate the alien child. Erase the mother. Meanwhile, Captain Raynor's ship hovered just outside a hollowed-out asteroid market called Deadwing Cross. It was a dark, drifting place. No rules, no loyalty, just secrets and guns. He didn't want to stop here, but his ship was low on fuel and his supplies were almost gone. Viral needed food, medicine, warmth. He had one goal: refuel and leave. But that's when the bounty hunter showed up. Raynor was inside a quiet trader's booth holding Varel, scanning for nutrients when the lights flickered. Then, silence. Metal door slammed shut behind him. "You made it hard to find you, Captain," a voice from the shadows. Calm, sharp, like glass. A tall man stepped forward, armor covered in rust and war medals. Red light blinked from his chest plate. His rifle was aimed, not at Raynor but at the child. Raynor slowly turned, keeping Varel close. "Don't do this. You think you're a hero? Saving one of them?" The hunter sneered. "The galaxy doesn't care about heroes. It cares about control. He's just a child. He's a symbol, and symbols are dangerous." The hunter's finger moved toward the trigger. Raynor didn't wait. He dropped, rolled, and fired. The shot hit the ceiling. The hunter moved fast. Too fast. Raynor threw a smoke bomb, grabbed Varel, and ran through a maintenance tunnel. His lungs burned. His shoulder bled. But he didn't stop. Varel clung to him, silent, scared, trusting. They reached the ship. Raynor didn't look back. He launched with only half a fuel tank, tearing away from Deadwing Cross. The hunter didn't follow, but Raynor knew he would. As the ship limped through space, Raynor sat on the floor, holding Viral tightly. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't mean for any of this. I just couldn't leave you." Viral looked up, and for the first time he spoke a full sentence in his language. The translator blinked. "You are not bad." Raynor laughed, not because it was funny, but because it hurt so much to hear kindness from a child the world wanted dead. "You're not bad either, kid." On Nova's gate, Soraya landed. She stepped off the ship, heart pounding. She had a new image now. Raynor's face pulled from the transmission. She showed it to everyone. "This man, have you seen him?" Most people shook their heads, until one old engineer leaned in. "He was here, with a child. Not long ago. Said he was looking for someone named Soraya." Her breath caught. "Where did he go?" "He said he'd head to the twin moons of Velen, safer space, and he left this for you." The man handed her a small cube. A message. Raynor's voice again. "If you get this, I'm still trying. They came for us. We're running again, but I won't stop until he's in your arms." Soraya wiped her eyes, clenched her jaw, and turned to the stars. "Then I'm coming to you." She loaded her ship, this time with weapons. She was done waiting. If anyone got in her way, human, alien, or hunter, they would feel the wrath of a mother with nothing left to lose. The last distance is not always measured in space. Sometimes it's measured in fear. In faith, in the last breath before everything changes. The stars shimmered like cold fire as two ships flew toward the same place. They did not know they were only hours apart, but their enemies did. Captain Raynor's ship was dying. The engines wheezed. The shields flickered. Fuel was almost gone. Every jump left scorch marks on the hull. Every minute felt borrowed. Viral sat quietly, wrapped in a silver blanket. His eyes, once full of fear, now held something new. Awareness. He knew they were running. Raynor placed a hand on the console, breathing hard. "Just one more jump, buddy. Just one more." He had set a course for the twin moons of Velen. Neutral space. No government, no patrols, no bounty hunters. A place where he could finally wait and hope Soraya would find them. But he didn't know the trap had already been set. Far away on a cold moon surface, 3 stealth cruisers waited in silence. They belonged to the Galactic Intelligence Division, the secret hand of power. Not soldiers, not heroes, just cleaners. The leader of the squad stood by the viewport. The mother and the traitor, both heading here. "Do we take them alive?" an agent asked. "Only the child needs to be intact. The rest are loose ends." Soraya's ship broke out of hyperspace, engines smoking, scanners humming. She stared at the moon system ahead. The twin worlds hung like silent gods, circling each other. She closed her eyes and listened to the hum of the ship. Then she heard it, a soft ping on her comms. A new message, from him. "Raynor." The voice was low, tired, but alive. "I'm in orbit. I don't know how long we have. I think they found me. But I won't leave. Not until you come. I swear." Her heart leaped. "I'm coming," she whispered, "and I'm bringing him home." She pushed the ship forward. But from the shadows, a 4th ship moved, cloaked behind her. They were waiting to strike until the moment she reunited with her child. To erase them all at once. On the dark side of Velen's 2nd moon, Raynor waited in silence. He sat beside Viral, holding a small gift in his hand. A toy he had carved from scrap metal, shaped like a bird, something a child might dream. So he had no idea if Viral's people believed in gifts or not, but it felt right. Then the ship's lights turned red, motion detected, incoming ships. No identification, no broadcast signal. They weren't here to talk. "They found us," Raynor muttered. He grabbed Viral, buckled him into the escape pod. "Listen, if they break in, this pod will launch. You'll survive. You hear me? Varel looked at him with wide eyes. His tiny hand touched Raynor's chest. Don't go. Raynor's breath caught. I have to keep you safe. He stood, rifle in hand, every step heavy. The doors began to melt from plasma cutters. Voices shouted, Stand down, Captain Raynor. This ends now. He didn't answer. He stood between them and the child. But before the final breach, a sudden blast, the enemy ship shook. From above, Soraya's ship had arrived. Guns blazing, she didn't wait. She attacked. The stealth cruiser cracked under the surprise assault. Inside, Raynor smiled. She found us. He opened the hatch. And for the first time, Soraya stepped inside. Their eyes met. She froze. And then, she saw him. Varel. She ran past, Raynor without a word, and dropped to her knees beside the child. He stared at her, unsure. Then his tiny hands touched her face. Mama. She broke. Tears flowed. The room was shaking from outside fire, but in that moment, time stopped. Her son was alive. Raynor turned away to give them space, but Soraya looked up. You saved him. Raynor nodded, wounded, bloody, exhausted. I didn't save him. He saved me. Outside, more ships arrived. The fight wasn't over, but something had changed. Now they weren't running. They were together, and the galaxy had no idea what it had just created. The reunion and the truth. The war had ended long ago, but only now did peace begin. The fire outside the ship burned brighter than any sun. Enemy cruisers collapsed in silence, caught in the chaos Soraya had unleashed. Smoke and debris filled the orbit of the twin moons. Inside the battered human transport, something stronger than war had survived. A mother's love and a soldier's impossible choice. Soraya held her son close, rocking him slowly. Varel's hands gripped her tightly, as if afraid she would disappear again. She whispered to him, in their native tongue, ancient lullabies of her people, soft sounds long forgotten among screams of war. Raynor stood at a distance, his arm bleeding, armor cracked. He didn't move. He didn't interrupt. For once, he wasn't the protector. He was just a witness, a tired, broken man, watching love return to where it always belonged. And yet, deep down, a question burned inside him. Would she forgive him? Soraya finally turned to face him. You could have killed him. Her voice was calm but sharp. You were ordered to kill civilians. We were the enemy. Yet you didn't. Raynor nodded slowly. I heard him cry. That sound didn't belong to war. It belonged to life. A pause. Soraya stood, her son still in her arms. You didn't save just my child, she said. You saved the last piece of me that was still alive. They stared at each other. Two sides of a war. Two people who had lost everything. Except this virile. But outside the calm, the storm was not over. The enemy ships were regrouping. The stealth fleet had not given up. They had lost the element of surprise, but they had numbers and orders. Terminate the child. Erase the evidence. Silence the traitor. A transmission came through, Soraya of Ulick. This is your final warning. Surrender the child. Surrender the human. Or we destroy both ships. Raynor stepped forward. We don't have the firepower to fight them all. Soraya didn't blink. We don't need to fight. We need to speak. She moved to the console, activated the long-range broadcast. A galaxy-wide transmission channel. Illegal. Dangerous. But loud. What are you doing? Raynor asked. Ending the lie, she said. Her voice echoed through every channel in orbit. This is Soraya of Ulick. Mother. Survivor. Fighter. I speak to every world, every species that hears my voice. To humans, and to those they fought. They told us we were enemies, they told us to fear one another, but my son was saved by the very man they called a monster. She turned the camera toward Raynor and Varel together. This child should have died, but a human chose mercy. A soldier broke his orders, because he listened to his heart, instead of his command. What more proof do you need that peace is possible? Across the stars. People listened, some in silence, some in shock, some in tears. On the bridge of the enemy cruiser, commanders shouted, "Shut it down. Jam the signal. Fire all weapons." But it was too late. The galaxy had seen. The truth was out. And with truth came hesitation. One by one, the enemy ships began to back away. Some turned, some powered down weapons. They were not machines, they were people, and they had just seen what humanity could be when it chose compassion over conquest. Inside the ship, Raynor slumped into a seat, breathless. "You just started a war with truth." Soraya smiled. "No, I ended one." She walked over and sat beside him. "There will still be those who hate, but now there will also be those who hope." Virel climbed into Raynor's lap, curled up, and closed his eyes. The three of them sat together. Mother, child, protector, not enemies, a new beginning. Weeks later, the official news reports were silent. Governments denied involvement. Military records were erased, but on the outer colonies, in markets and bars, in spaceports and refugee camps, people told the story. About a human soldier who defied his own side. About an alien mother who fought through stars. About a child who lived because someone chose mercy. They called it a legend, they called it impossible, but those who knew better just called it truth.